just
Progress.
We should do that just in case.
heads up, we still meet.
No, I agree, but like I do empathize with
Right.
the fact that everybody and their brother is bombarding Mindy on a daily basis.
Right.
And where does she get her priorities from is the board. So the board, to me, is the one that's gonna have to push this.
Yeah,
We've got technology on hold, waiting for some answers.
Okay, when I make my report next week to the board as to what's going on with technology.
Yeah.
I will add the fact, and we're still waiting on the BAMs as built, it's now a juggernaut. And that
It's a major roadblock.
So anything that can be done to expedite that can be appreciated.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Rather than us keep going.
Right.
And everybody else, the board has much more weight than we do.
and it has to go to finance committee too, that whole piece,
Yeah.
right?
Okay. That's it for me.
Yeah.
Number two.
That is right. Number two.
Number two. Some general data. I did a little calculation. In days ending, I think the 13th of January. The average number of members signed into the web is 10. Not many.
No, that's not.
That's not good. The better news is that the number of members who were loaded from the property records, 2,200. There are now 120 who haven't signed in. And my prediction has always been that we would get down to about 500, and that the rest of them, for all kinds of various reasons, never would.
Okay,
The backlog of the function of the two subcommittees oversight have been explored thoroughly, debated, discussed. We're fixing to make another minor change in how that works, subject to agreement. And
Then they're very busy this week.
yeah, and so like we had 3-hour meeting yesterday talking about this, so it's time consuming, but we have a backlog of about 30 change requests right now. Some of them are almost trivial, some of them require us to make the website do things we don't know how to make the website do. Around tickets, say online ticket sales is probably the most vexed question we have, but we're confident we'll find a solution. About membership, members who were not initially loaded because their names weren't on the title.
Because they didn't have an email, okay?
No, just those, the ones with no email, the ones with no email. Well, yeah, some of the ones with no email probably availed themselves, gotten on the website and tried to register and sign in. And through that process and the approval of co-resident non-owners, we've added about 127 new members that way. Otherwise, this is one our paper hanger. There is one item of sort of new business. We anticipate that because, as I said earlier, we're in some cases we're sort of hitting the limits of what we understand about their system and maybe the limits of what their system can do. And because about 4 or 6 weeks ago, Corey, our onboarding specialist, advised me that Zoom calls were no longer going to be free, but he didn't know what the charge would be. I think we're going to need to have some discussions with them on some of these issues. And so I'm proposing that we draft a motion that requests that we be granted the sum of $400 to conduct such paid for discussions that we may have to discuss, even though right now we don't know what the charge per discussion or hour is. But I suspect it very well might be the $100 an hour that they advertise for, sort of custom assistance and stuff, but I don't know that to be fact.
What do you wanna
And
formulate?
that would, yeah, I will, and then, so that would equate our estimate that we might need 3 or 4 of these sessions before we're done. Especially before we
yeah.
talk about the wording.
Well, before you talk about the wording, based on the fact that the board approved $2,500 originally, and we only spent $900. You should have $1,400 sitting.
Okay, is,
Now, you know.
well, it's a point.
I got about that, yeah.
Oh,
Shall we explore, I will need to get them to come up with a number per session or per hour.
Right.
And they're not in today as far as I can tell. But I will get that information this week by hook or by crook. That. What do you think, Jack?
Well, I totally forgot about what Ian just brought up, which was the 2,500 we got approved to do the pilot. And we've only spent 900 of that. So
Which
that
paid for a 1-year
150 is
subscription.
already passed the
Yeah.
board, it's already there, it's already sitting in Mindy's little folder. And so it would be a matter of doing the session and submitting the bill. So I'm
Okay,
not, I would withdraw my suggestion that we come up with a motion because I forgot that that had already been approved.
I
So if
would,
that's already been approved, I wouldn't disturb stripping dogs.
I would suggest in that case that I'm tasked to dig them up to come up with a number and what it pays for, and then to report to this committee before we proceed with
Yeah.
any such calls.
I if we then approve it, if it's $500 or whatever, and we approve it, we go.
Yeah, so I will take the action item to coordinate and find out what this new arrangement really amounts to, what does it cost, and report back to the committee.
Selling
don't
tickets
necessarily-
online, it's a big, selling tickets online is a big selling point that we use to get the website approved and up and going, and there's still a lot of serious interest in it in the community, but it's also they want to make sure it works and it works efficiently and effectively. So I would say, I would advocate that anything you can do to make that as smooth as possible when it goes in, the better, and if that requires going to HOA start expertise to get it nice and smooth. I would lean that direction, but that's up to the committee.
Okay, I'll, when Cheryl or I have that detailed information, we'll write something to the board for their consideration. To the committee for their consideration. We'll include, the why and wherefore the check just went into.
Can we do that?
just an alternative to that.
Sure.
We have the budget. We really want to get working on events. Do we really want to have to come back to the committee?
That's what I was
before we
gonna say.
Schedule a call with HOA. If this committee is fine with saying, yes, you can spend some of that money.
I think.
I mean, the rate is gonna be the rate.
Yeah,
It's not gonna
I can show.
That's
Yeah.
what you've got to do, so I don't think you need to come back.
I withdraw my suggestion, Cheryl's right.
I think we realize it's just delaying it another month.
Yeah,
Exactly, yeah.
So if the minutes indicate that there was consensus among the committee
To proceed.
continue to directly use all of the.
Having determined the cost in advance and the reasonableness of it to proceed, yes.
Basically, you have the authority just to go ahead and do it.
Yeah,
Up to-
and the
up
minute,
to-
the minute will be something like a mashup between what Chad said and what I just said.
Well, that's taken care
And credit Cheryl for some.
Just make it happen.
of.
Less than 3 pages.
I think that's Cheryl, your activities, would you tell the committee about the new stuff we discovered? Some of the book was staring us in the face all the time and we didn't know what it was and what it was for.
But we pushed you to it.
yeah, sub-admin roles has always been kind of a problem because if you give someone a sub-admin role to events, you've now given them access to every event, which you really don't want to do. Now they've added a thing where you can tag people. So I can give them access to events, but only specific events, I think. we have
Yes,
truly tested. It's a
Can I,
good thing.
can I give an example of that right now? For hiking. For the hikes I don't lead. Those leaders have to send me the hike notice and I have to post it. Cause they can't get on there to post it.
Yeah, and I have not tested it at the activity club group level, okay? And I'm hoping that we can give access to specific pages to anybody who's a club leader. And pickleball, et cetera, will be able to update their own pages without having other access.
That would be nice.
That would be wonderful. The other thing they've added is you can have as many news feeds as you want, different ones.
Mm-hmm.
So you could have different subjects, and we've been asked to maybe come up with a classified section. And Rick tested that yesterday or whatever, and you can actually, an individual could post their own classified ad. And I don't know how much, it would still have to go to the board, but I don't know how much risk there would be in people putting negative things in classified, you know, but
They allowed us to do it in the last website.
yeah.
A lot of individuals go ahead and post.
Yes.
Yeah,
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 then, so the way this works, it works like the news feed, which is called news feed, which we have now. And it's like Facebook, it's a river, it just flows by. And if you want to look at something older, you kind of have to paddle downstream to find it. You have to see more. So in a sense, the ads are almost self-deleting. You know, because on screen, you'll probably only be able to see one or two or three, and if you want to see more ads, you just scroll down and look at more ads. And it's therefore pretty much self-administering. If we want somebody to be tasked to look at it every other day and make sure they're not trying to sell body parts or something, that's fine, but we can delete items at will from that. So it will be a news feed, but it will be called news feed, it'll be called classifieds.
And the older ones are on the bottom. and you
Yeah,
can
just
use
like
on the
Facebook,
top.
it's just like Facebook.
It's really old, you may not have to get to it.
Yeah, and there's no need to cache or anything, no limits on amount of content or it, so you can just sit there and run.
See, Mindy uses it right now quite effectively.
I thought that was,
Yeah. Mhm.
Couldn't you put like a 90-day limit on them or something?
No,
Limit,
no,
so that they
no.
would flow off, drop off.
I have not found a capability like that, I don't believe it
Okay, I'm
exists.
putting my hand down.
we're just waiting. Liz has her hand up.
Oh. Sorry
ahead.
about that. Yeah, I just wanted to check, and I think maybe Dale answered it. So Mindy does review the classifieds, like someone must be reviewing the classifieds today is what I was thinking.
there are no classifieds today.
No, just Mindy.
No, there are, okay, I'm talking about previously. Somebody had to monitor them, right? Keith, would I be correct?
Paul Jakovic was the last one that I remember monitoring.
Okay,
It could be a double, that Minnie could keep an eye on it, glance at it. The other option would be the website oversight committee. They are the ones that are technically in charge of what does and doesn't kind of pop up on the website. You may be able to get enough volunteers on that oversight committee so that one of the volunteers thing would be to keep an eye on it. And if necessary, bring it back to the oversight committee. I don't know, that was just a thought.
A feature of the template called newsfeed is that anyone who's authorized to post to that can post to it, but people who turn out to be a pain in the butt can be deauthorized to posting on there quite easily.
Now, you rated that a priority 4 though. Is that still the case or is that moved up?
I think
The
it's part of it
classifieds.
was 4 because with technical.
Yeah,
we
so
have a way.
we thought it was really hard to do, but it's
Right.
not.
We do talk.
You do.
The hard part will be community outreach to communicate what it is, how you use it, etc. And the thing itself is probably not good for that because it just flows. So if we put out a thing that explains how to use it, in 2 days, it'll be 30 ads down and nobody will ever see it. So we need to think about that too.
Well, one of the things that we're gonna find out that it won't be as popular as it was with the old website, because there's competition out there now.
Mhm.
Village Neighbors and that other, one of the other
Right.
ones.
Right, marketplace.
Yeah,
Yeah, which is fine.
well, yeah,
You want to talk about volunteers at all, or? For the web team,
In what respect do we need more for our
Yeah.
subcommittees? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
We would like on the tech team, we would like to have probably two more. If we found anybody who was willing to make the kind of investment that Cheryl has made to learn the system, that would be good. But the two that we're looking for, our vision for it, I think we agree on this, Cheryl and I, it is that they would be specialized to know how to do certain things. And
Mhm.
so when we have a task that's one of those things, we hand it off to them.
Sure.
And therefore the burden on them of learning the system is much reduced.
one of the things right now, I was in the office the other day, looking at the book for signups. Technology seems to be the only one no one signs up. Maybe, maybe they don't know how to use the pencil there. And on the online, I'm not sure if anybody signed up for some of them. But I just was thinking maybe we should be the people should be the leaders in signing up on the website.
And I can take the task and send out another e-blast about that, asking for volunteers.
Can I ask, on the website, sign up, is that fixed now and operating?
It's never been broken. I'm sorry, what do you mean?
It's on there.
Well, I remember you and I talked a little bit, Rick, about that when I went. And tried to say what I was interested in, it wouldn't accept it.
Yes, there was no box in the back.
Oh, yeah, I don't think that box is there.
Right. In our meeting yesterday, I walked away that I was tasked to work on that a little bit. I haven't done that yet, but once I do, it should be clean and ready to go. And then it's a matter of where you decide to put it. But once the form's ready and once you decide where to put it, then I think it would be really important at the next board meeting to be able to put out that sign up sheet is there with the actual link to the actual page. So that people can just click on it and go right.
There is no actual page if we put a new box in that system, the only way for me to get to it as a member is go to my profile where the box will now appear and put something in it.
but did you put a page up for anybody applying for committees? Isn't that what?
I'm sorry, I thought we were talking about member sign up.
Yeah.
Am I in the wrong branch here?
It was sign up for your for a committee of.
Oh, that's a totally different matter. We've got a page, it's up.
I know, but.
Liz, you wanna,
Tried to put in, my interest was in the technology group, it wouldn't accept it.
Yeah, Jack's where
Because you're already on.
The minor glitch in the form, we're gonna fix that.
I'm sorry, I
Yeah,
thought you
but
were talking about something else entirely.
Problem is today it's not working.
Okay.
I would say by this afternoon, should definitely.
Okay, can I clarify something? There are two ways you
Can I
can
just
sign up for a committee.
oh,
You can go to the committee page. If you're already a member, then it doesn't necessarily work. There's now a second page you've added, correct, Rick? For anybody to apply for committee,
No, there's only one page.
and it takes you right to that committee.
No, there's a space to put in what committee you want to be on.
So-
It also, there's a drop down for if you're already on a committee or you're a steering member
Okay.
or, and all that.
You no longer use the old route.
No, but you bring up an interesting point. I've now been forced to read the documents which control that process in our command media. And a committee lasts for a year. And at the installation of the new board, the committees are effectively dead and must be resurrected.
Right.
And when I read those documents, there's nothing in there that tells me that in order to be considered, you must do A or B or C. If the board sits down and says, well, I think so-and-so ought to head the architectural committee. Well, are they interested? Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're interested. The board can appoint them as the head of the thing. So it's nice that we have this form, but the form, that we need to decide if that form is going to be mandatory or not. because people just go put their name on the list now.
Yes, yes and no. There, these
Okay,
things all concurrently read that you have to sign up on the list in order to be considered.
It says a list, yeah,
Right.
those are the
And so
words.
the goal would be to have the list in the office, which it already is, and to provide a more convenient way to sign up by doing the online, and then that's sent to Wendy and it's combined with the paper list.
And that's what the
And
page
so
we,
what Ian is saying is that he tried it the other day and it didn't work. And what I'm saying is that by this afternoon, it should be up and should be working.
yeah, and that page exists and Jack will
Right.
correct that discrepancy.
And then the next step is to let other committees know that as well, in the sense that you send out an email to them saying, here's the efficient, effective way to sign up online to be on the committee list.
Yeah, because that's much more efficient than people having to go into the office.
That's why we have a website.
Liz has her hand up. Can we hear from her, please?
Yes, I'm gonna go back a number of topics here. I wanted to mention, you mentioned about doing an e-blast, Greg. And I found when I sent the one out for grounds and also for communications, when I actually talked about what they would be doing, I got a bunch of answers. So I'm just suggesting that, rather than just saying IT or whatever kind of background, that you go into what exactly they would be doing for the web team. Not bit by bit, but just give them a better understanding of what the job is.
And I have written one before and sent it out, so I'll just modify that one.
Okay, that sounds good. The other one, and even going back to when Jack said about the oversight committee monitoring something, I didn't believe that was actually what the oversight committee is supposed to do. We identify the wants to the web team. I don't see us, looking over something. So that's to Jack.
I'm not sure.
That's the actual motion that was passed at the board, and I believe there is some monitoring involved in that. I'll go back and look at the.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't even know there was one. That it would be on there for a subcommittee wouldn't be listed, would they? Jack?
Board made a motion to create.
Yes, but it was just, okay. Yes, I understand that now, yeah. And I remember that motion, and basically it was the vice chair was going to be doing the oversight committee, but yeah, have a look at it.
There was about half a page of,
Monitor problems, maintain page content.
Right.
Document requests and prioritize changes.
yeah.
Okay, so
Responsible
monitor
for-
problems. But that wouldn't be like monitoring the classified ads that are going in, correct?
The web page.
Maintain page content.
In reality,
Yeah, I think that's something that we need to figure out.
Yeah,
who's
I think maybe we better
What?
clarify.
the most.
For me,
effective.
anyway. Okay, thanks. I think that was it. I think you covered about signing up for the committee, that it was existing committee members that couldn't sign in because they were already on the committee. That what Ian was talking about.
Okay, while we're talking oversight and web team, is there a reason why you're not able to get together at the same meeting? I attended the last meeting as you did.
Yeah.
Great. And I felt at that point it would be the oversight looks at items, they discuss them. Then the web team has a better idea of what they want. Because they're in the same meeting,
Right.
they get the same information. So whether they accept it or don't accept it, I think it's a good idea.
To have them meet together at the same time.
Yeah, but
Well, we do meet to get, two of us
Yeah.
and seem to accomplish a lot more than. Like we met Saturday and I went home and thought we were. And as normal, Rick improved on it on Sunday.
let me give you an example of tasks where been beneficial for Rick or I have been there. Okay. You have three things in your thing about people who want to sign up for events online. In reality, that should become an action item that says, let's create events online. And interest in it maybe to find somewhere else. It's really not 4 different action items. It's really one, get events working.
Mhm.
Okay. Different things where people are talking about ideas and we're saying, yeah, but that really isn't a much bigger scope of things. So I don't know. I think sometimes just exchanging ideas in a larger group would make some more sense. But
I agree with you, Cheryl. There should be, oh, I should put my hand down. Anyway, I think that Rick and Cheryl should be there. We're saying what quadrant it is in, and they would know what we're working on and the fact that we were even having a meeting. So I think it would be very beneficial to have them at the oversight committee meeting.
we stand, we don't have a vote.
Well,
Well, it's not really a voting thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
we didn't say they couldn't be there. I didn't want them there the first time because I wanted to get organized within our group.
So sure, so
And we wouldn't have had enough time. And we did end up with what was a pretty good solution for us. And with Rick and I discussing it, we even went farther. And yesterday, they seem to advance. We're getting there. We said in the beginning that I know I wasn't real comfortable, but I said, let's get going. We'll find a way. And I think that's what we're doing. We're right on track.
I think there's important to maintain the appearance of the separation. That's the whole intent of an oversight committee. If you meet together all the time, you might as well just have one committee.
Yeah, and that means that your committee, Keith, doesn't know what's happening. Which is why I would think it would be beneficial in future, I'm saying, to maybe invite them as well to attend, and then we're all in the know.
That's not the intent of the
No,
process.
actually, my intent was that once we got this process down, that we would be discussing significant, help me, tickets.
Yeah, requests.
Requests. And as I said at a couple of the meetings we've had, that I want to get some of the people involved. I don't think we need everyone at the meeting, but I'd like to see people on the oversight take hold of certain tickets where they have an interest or something and partner with me.
Yeah, I think maybe Greg, maybe I wasn't clear. I meant the oversight committee, just the oversight committee, not technology. That it would be nice that, you know, we knew what Rick and Keith were talking about, just to include the members of the oversight committee. But however you want to do it, I guess, is up to you, Keith.
Well, I'd like to see it continue the way we designed it for now, and then make changes as we see fit later down the road. Go ahead, Rick.
we currently, you know, with these 2 subcommittees being created, Keith and I discussed it. Cheryl and I built a ticket, a ticketed form, custom form for inputs from the community or the board or directly from the oversight committee, would be formally recorded, numbered, and sent to us for action. We had a 3-hour meeting yesterday, Cheryl and I and Jack attended, in which we beat that to death and have now concluded that there actually needs to be 2 separate assignments, that the community gives something to the oversight committee. If they're happy that it should be proceeded with, they give us a different form, which in the first discussions we all had, was called a work order, but that's actually an inappropriate name. But anyway, it's an authorization for us to go do it. I think Keith's comment is interesting and useful, because in some cases when we get it, or even before we get it, we need something. Ian wanted to get the list of plants and shrubs on the website, and I wrote a comment on that tickets, in which he would see because he submitted it, saying, Ian, will you go get the list? Stuff like that. It can be that simple. Anyway, I think the system we're developing is going to work really well.
Are we getting there?
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
Um,
Let's not.
I have nothing
You know,
else.
we're doing.
yeah,
I have nothing else.
before we go to the next topic, can we go back?
Can I go back one to the numbers that you're seeing on the website?
Yeah,
It's a question to you. Because I got up at 3 o'clock this morning looking for what the usage was on the old website. They were in the communication minutes, committee minutes, but I blasted mine away within the last few months, and I'm just wondering if you might want to write it down and see if it was, you can find it in from the communications.
I'll take a look. I don't,
Meetings that we were involved in.
I'm sorry, I missed the subject somehow.
Oh.
he wants to know what it was before.
What was?
The hits on
hits.
web
Okay, thank you,
for whatever.
thank you, yes.
That was reported each month by the chairman of that committee.
Well, even when she wasn't here, when she was on the board,
Right.
and it was in the minutes. And unfortunately, I
Those
mine away.
they folder in the Google Drive.
I don't have access to it.
If my recollection is it was somewhere around 30, 40, it depended on the month,
30, 40 a month,
30 or 40 hits.
so
That doesn't sound right.
yeah. And
I would agree.
the numbers I see are only members, so.
Yeah.
Since most of our websites are visible to the general public, I would have no visibility of those. We don't have a system for counting
Right,
hits.
yeah,
Oh, we don't.
That isn't part of the system we contracted for.
There's
Okay.
you just track logins.
I track logins.
Yeah.
That's all I can do.
Yeah.
But you don't have to log in to see the website. You just can't see the parts of it that you have to be logged.
I'll work with Rick. There are several tools out there on the net to find that out.
Yeah.
Google has one. so
External tool.
we can find out, and I would agree with you. I would, these are just the ones that he's seeing, that there are definitely more. You know, to the
Well, before we move on, did you help me formulate, see where did I go here? On the money part,
You're just gonna.
you were, how can I word that? You said it was a match.
That was when I was gonna come back to the board with something, but I think the
Yeah,
consensus now is we don't
I
do
just
that.
want for the minute, so I wanna,
Okay, we had $2,500 authorized
Yeah.
by the board.
and minus 900 that we've used.
We've got $1,600 basically.
Yeah.
So we can go ahead and spend up to $2,500 on whatever the committee decides.
At Rick's discretion, right?
At Rick's discretion.
Okay,
He's just reporting back that we're finally at the point where we may start
yeah,
beginning to use that service.
okay. I just want to have the minutes reflect that you have the discretion to spend the money, send the bill to Mindy, or invoice, whatever it is.
We know what we're doing for lunch today, right?
And Rick, your 16th monitoring and no.
There are on the list that they developed, the oversight people developed their meeting as reviewed and annotated by Cheryl first and then me this morning. There are 35 requests for change to the website that have been officially recorded. Sadly, only about 4 of those are completed.
For what?
4 of those are completed, 4 or 5.
Yeah.
A lot of work out there.
Well, I went in and approved some of which I thought I was just telling you guys, go ahead, work on them.
Those aren't completed.
Those should be in pending, and there's no way for me to move them back Depending,
this is, I'm just talking about either completed or not.
Yeah. and that's what well,
All the rest are pending.
will you share that with me if you updated it?
Yes, I will. This is Cheryl's looked at it. Because it's her work action. Okay, I have no other issues to raise or comments.
Okay.
Yes, yes, yes.
And let's go on to the next topic of mine, Zoom. I'm just looking for the email I sent to Mindy. Anyway, again, we're basically waiting for Mindy to complete the task that I sent her, and I can't go any further until she does, which is hooking up the Ethernet that's connected to the new firewall in the back. Installing the two halls. Yeah.
Isn't that up there, Ethernet?
It's not connected to the back yet.
Okay.
That's the only thing that's missing there.
How about the TV?
And the new TVs, but
I
that's
think-
gonna go before the board this week.
Yeah, well, I noticed that, I think the one on the board is just for the mesquite. The back one here, isn't it?
No, it's both.
Is it both? I didn't know.
There were, what I got yesterday on the rough draft agenda for the meeting was that there were three. That they were gonna,
Two here in Sunset.
yeah, two here, one in Sunset, and then all three of these will go to the station. But there was nothing in that. There was no specification as to which TVs, how much they would cost, what the capabilities of each TV would be. All that is, I'm assuming, up to Mindy and how, what she decides to do. Is there a technology committee input into that?
To what you talk about, the TVs?
So Mindy's gonna buy 3 new TVs,
Like,
Yes.
will they be Bluetooth enabled?
bingo. And then that's my question, if we.
Well, here's what I sent to her right here.
Input on that?
Do you see it?
No,
No.
You can't really read it. Go ahead.
I think we need a new TV, right?
Right.
Large, maybe a larger one.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Well, it's supposed to be an 85 inch.
Perfect.
Second, all that's purchased. Replacements TV would be set up and connected to each other by a dedicated HDMI cable. A cable from input 2 to that one over to here to a HDMI splitter. So that when, so I set this up, that signal would go automatically over to there now. I'm looking at George. Is that a? What do you think, George?
I don't see any reason it would work. Doesn't sound good.
So the three TVs are two in here
And one in the Sunset.
and one in the Sunset?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, because right now there's three of them in there. So we're just taking one over?
No, there's two here, one in the Sunset, which would go to the Superstition Center to replace those.
Oh.
Right.
That's the plan, yeah.
We would upgrade these two in the Sunset so that, you know, these, that we have, the existing ones. Go down to the Superstition Center, and the ones probably in the Superstition Center,
Would be thrown away or whatever.
well, they sell them.
Yeah.
They can probably give us so much
How
for
many are there in the Sunset?
3. We had 4, but when they stacked the table in the one corner,
You took one out.
someone pushed it just a little bit too hard and went through the TV, the stack of tables.
So is there,
In the
so are we
Superstition Center,
updating all three in the Sunset or just one of them?
there's only one in the Sunset.
There's only one in the Sunset now.
In the main,
On the Silver Hall.
It's only one now.
in the yard room,
Right,
There's really no space for another one
okay,
in the other rooms.
got it.
And there are
in the other rooms, but.
some.
The art down, you can put more in.
Yeah.
No,
They were originally, the rooms were set up for TV, and I think we. Cause I lost the battle of cable versus Wi-Fi.
I'm just concerned that when Mindy goes out and do the specs, so the specs are here, is there anything else in there? We need to make sure she,
We don't need a smart TV, do we?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
you do.
For,
Otherwise you'll be able to stream.
Yeah.
you can't
Oh.
use internet without a smart TV, can you?
That's correct.
Yeah, that's right.
You didn't,
I do in my house with a TV camera.
And these are all on the reserve. And so they're
Yes.
quote unquote already earmarked funding to upgrade them.
Right.
It would depend on how much they come in at and whether that's enough or whether we need to
Yeah,
pull from some of
Well,
the.
she had to come up with a plan.
Now, the reserves, theoretically, it has to be over $1,000. To go on the reserve.
Okay,
If you get 85-inch smart TV equipped with what we want, they're gonna be more than $1,000.
Okay.
oh yeah, easily,
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
But close to, yeah.
probably.
but that's, okay, on the reserve, it's actually, there's about three of them together. So three together is over $1,000.
Right.
Individually, they weren't, you know, when we bought them way back when.
Yeah,
But because they're lumped as one line item as three TVs, it does exceed the 1,000.
Right.
But they'll be, well, around two.
I would-
three, four.
Now, did they also mainly buy three TVs for the Alcatel recently?
she has, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
I don't know if they're in yet or not.
I think they're, I don't know for sure.
Thought they were. in.
I saw a big cardboard box being pulled out down the walkway here last week, so maybe they are in now.
I thought they were scheduled for.
I don't know.
Um,
That's,
so that's the TV part, that she has purchased a second owl. And they will talk to each other, but they can only be 8 feet apart, they cannot be any further than 8 feet apart. And they have to face each other. In order to work. So the suggestion, in fact, Ed Poland suggested it, is to replace these tables with one big table, permanently affix them. Which I would prefer. Jack and I also talked about having portable carts. So, but he's looking into the table,
Well,
Ed Poland is,
Or they also will fit on a tripod.
or they will fit on a tripod.
It
I
might
could
be
see them
easier
going
than-
down on the
It
floor.
might be easier than. Around.
put a big table in here. You're talking about.
We do have 10-foot tables in storage.
Wooden tables or these kinds?
Just.
Yeah, the
Single.
concern there, when we talked about the other day, was that there are multiple uses of this room.
Yeah,
And sometimes the rooms would be hard to do with a big table.
Card
But-
bingo. would
Card
be an
bingo is
example.
one that comes to mind.
But then again, you know, you can always put it off to the side or so on. I think the paramount thing is, what do we need to do to be able to set the owls where we need to have them during the meet?
right.
What's most efficient, and, you know, maybe a tripod is.
Tripod might
Couple of
work.
tripods should tripod is the most viable without taking the whole burden on
Yeah.
30.
The one piece is the dead stair. Valves.
Take the tripod, you can pay for
Yeah,
it.
the one the Germans used for these, those are 2 meters.
No, according to Mindy, no,
Okay, but there does need to be a plug for each outlet.
correct.
Sorry,
That would probably.
That goes on the floor.
you got it clear.
So I had a good idea to
One down the
have,
other end,
Rich in
one right here.
exploring the setup of a
One here.
Zoom room.
Yeah.
If in his piece, he makes a distinction between exactly where the owls should go. Once you decide where the owls are gonna go, then orchestrate stuff around it.
You know, I'm about or something.
So I guess I'm just waiting for the feedback from Ed Poland. He's asking me those questions, and I guess we're waiting for Mindy, basically. The other thing that I've asked Mindy, I mean, separate license to be purchased for the Palo Verde room. And a dedicated laptop that we can set up the meetings without her involvement.
Absolutely.
So that's, yeah,
Computer has to be.
How about, getting the other committees to use it? I know Tasha's in here with the activity and, unless I come and hook up the owls, she's just there with her PC.
Yeah.
Cause she doesn't know how. And I thought we were going to have instructions.
until we know the setup, we can't do the instructions
Well, we could do it for what it is today.
like this.
Yeah, I mean, you working fine right here.
Didn't at the last meeting, we say that Rich could do that?
Rick, I
Well,
was talking about you.
But I was waiting for Ian to set up a meeting with Mindy. So
And
that
I
we
have-
can start the whole from the point,
Yeah.
Yep,
from the beginning.
and right now, she is not really.
And I've been asking for the same meeting, so.
So I'm waiting for Mindy to get back to me, arrange time to provide training.
Liz, don't you have a meeting set up with Mindy to walk you and I through the setup?
Yes, she's going to, yeah, we set up a meeting. I thought it was only gonna be, well, it doesn't matter. Yeah, we set up a meeting, for her just to show me exactly how to set up the meeting. And it's on the 28th, I think. Maybe what we should do there is have, it's not good to have too many people, but maybe, Rick could come to that meeting if you're available.
But keep in mind, the setup's gonna change. With the change in the Zoom room.
Right. And that's okay. I just want to
Written.
know for today. I want to know how, for my communication meeting, we keep having little issues come up. So I set up a meeting for her to just lead me through it.
I think it's the 30th, isn't it, Liz? Am I correct?
Oh, it could be. I didn't even look. Yeah. Let me see. I think you're right.
Lord oversight.
Yeah, it is the 30th at 11 o'clock.
In the library, Lou?
No, in the Palo Verde room.
Oh,
Yeah, here, this is it. Okay.
Yeah, I want to see how to work the Palo Verde room.
You'll go away.
Jack. I think that the board needs to put a list of priorities together for Mindy, because just out of this meeting, well, we got this with Mindy, that with Mindy, this with Mindy.
Yeah.
That's a whole separate.
I know, yeah, but I think he just needs some guidelines, because we've got things held up on the planning committee as well, so we need to set on a list for this.
Your points well taken. I
Yeah.
would recommend that in lieu of that, or not in lieu, but before, that's a separate issue, and I agree with you on it. I would recommend that we move as far forward as we can without that involvement. So for instance, it's just simply where to put equipment, which plug and plug into which.
Well,
computer.
that's an easy one. I'm talking generally.
Or us, no, very difficult for those who don't. So there are several committees other than just this one, or communication, that need to set a guidelines. And we can begin to write those in an electronic form, we can modify them as we go along. But the
Excuse
more
me,
that-
Jack, could I just intercede there? I was talking to a couple of different board members, I guess, and they said that this year, because of normally at the operations meeting, they set priorities, but because this year was so crazy with the recall and changing committees and everything, they haven't been doing it. But I believe, maybe it was wrong. Anyway, it needs to be the president used to sit down and I guess set priorities, or I don't know if it was even the president, but the board has to set priorities again.
That's still going on. I was in an operations meeting a month ago. That's still going. There's
board members.
Yeah,
there are two board members, Mindy, that sat down and do set the priorities, but they set it for the agenda. That's the purpose of that meeting, is to say what are the priorities to get on the agenda and get going. It's not a priority for staff. That's between the president and the property manager.
okay, so the president, so I was right in the first place. It's the president and the property manager that get together and set priorities, because what was said is we end up with all these recommendations and it goes to Mindy, and then there's no follow-up. Nobody's seeing that it's getting done. So hopefully the new board will implement that again, because apparently I was told it was dropped just because of what went on this whole year.
No, it hasn't been dropped. We're continuing to do it. I would say you're right, that there needs to be maybe a more efficient system to do it. But at this point, I would still recommend the tech committee come up with and begin the process of putting together a to do how to set up the room list. And with as much as we have,
And the current,
definitely you can add to it or modify it.
Okay, so for now, you cut to the chase. The meeting is scheduled for January 30th, at 11 o'clock, did you say, Cheryl? Here. Here,
yeah.
so Rick, if you attend that,
Well, just a minute now. If I'm gonna be meeting with Mindy prior to that about how we're gonna change it,
oh, okay.
then how does it make sense for, to do that?
You got a good point. And how soon will the change happen?
Well, she's got the second O, so that stuff can happen fairly quickly.
Then I would.
And once she does connects, for instance, here's a change that'll happen. You connect your computer to the Ethernet instead of the Wi-Fi. So that's one change that's gonna happen. That can happen pretty fast once they connect it in the back.
Okay, so why don't we just table it? Yeah. From what you're saying, we need to have a computer,
And,
right?
yeah,
The new Ethernet is working.
yeah,
Okay, those are non-starters if we don't have it.
right.
So until we get those, there's no use proceeding.
How many board committee meetings are gonna happen before that happens?
Yeah, that's my point. My communication meeting is coming up. And I doubt you'll have the Ethernet. I would love if you did. I mean, have the connection to it. But I want to know how to operate it
Communication minute,
for my meeting.
On Monday, so
another month.
another one, see with planning, we're another month away.
And it's not worth doing. No, I agree.
Yeah,
It's still worth it for Liz and I to have our meeting because
unless, well, I'd say keep the meeting.
Yeah.
Unless you hear from me otherwise,
Well-
unless you hear if it changes. In which case, we'll be showing you how to do it.
yeah.
Yes, and I'm actually the one that's dealing with Mindy and I'm the one, so maybe you could let me know if that happens. Yeah, I set up the meeting and that's all I'm saying. I set up the meeting, so I'm gonna keep it unless I hear from you.
And that's about it, I think, for that. Number 4 is George,
Okay,
and you gave me a nice document here.
yeah, that's about the second half of my discussion, where it still has to do with streaming.
Right,
And that continues to be dependent on campus-wide, high-quality Wi-Fi. So until that's in place, there's really not much we can do to
right.
get us into the streaming business. Now, having said that, getting into the YouTube business is really pretty
You
key.
know, this is the first time a lot of you have heard this, but we've had private conversations about that, right?
Yeah, that's one thing that was requested in your email.
Yeah.
Look into getting into a
And-
YouTube account.
Where this came from is a request from somebody that as we do the videotape the candidates forums, right, which they did last year. Where would they put them? And one of the ideas was on YouTube. And because you said the video, our web cannot do video, right?
No, that's not what I said.
Oh.
They can't play it.
Right,
Right.
Needs a player, that's the player. And once you have a player, each video has a file name. On YouTube, for example, and we can create a page where if it's committee meetings, every committee meeting is an entry, and you click the entry and you play that video from the player, but you see it on your screen on our website.
So you can link over to YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay, and that was where I was gonna go with it.
yeah,
The YouTube search engine is just as bad and difficult as the Google search engine. Kind of makes sense. Google owns YouTube. So if you go searching for Mountain Brook Village videos, it's gonna give you 378 other things first. And it would never get to us. So what's gonna be required is actually a link on the web page to the YouTube account.
Yeah.
And then you can select the video that you want.
Yeah, we already linked to, one external, service already, which isn't a video service, but on the calendars drop down, there's a facilities reservation calendar menu item. When you click on it, it shows you a link to Trumba.
Okay,
And if you go right to Trumba, it loads Trumba.
yeah,
And it'll be the same with these videos.
so that'd be perfect for YouTube.
I was just wondering.
And then, I thought that people wanted to be able to record and store things like the yoga class or other things that are happening here on campus.
Right.
And with YouTube, that'd be a piece of cake.
Does this require board action?
Yes, no, maybe.
I
I think to go ahead and explain to figure it all out, see how it's going, and then present it to, or a yes, no, maybe, and where to put it on the board. But I think your idea, what does it take at this point to set up a YouTube account?
That's George, you can just ask the same question. Nothing, I don't think.
There's no charge for it.
Okay. so
YouTube is a free service.
Maybe Benny saying, let's go set up a YouTube account, and then we'll play with how to put it on the web and link to YouTube.
So we can do a demo?
Well, there's some limitations to that. It requires the Google account. And the YouTube account would be a personal account. Someone would have to own that account as a member of Google.
Right,
Now, there is such a thing as a brand account where multiple people can access it and control. That may be something more desirable rather than a personal account.
Probably just be going to Mindy and having her set up a YouTube account on behalf of the association. And use the association email to set up that account. That way you have access to the YouTube, even if this committee comes and goes or volunteers come and go.
It's gotta be something that's gonna outlast any of us.
right.
And that's the way we've done other subscriptions.
Okay.
Google Drive to our Google account and so on. So some of that's already in place.
Yeah. Okay, well, that would be good. I don't know. What the requirements would be for who can load videos into the account. That may have to go through the owner.
That would be whoever sets up the account, say Mindy sets it up on behalf of the association.
And
she
she's
has
gonna
control
get the
over
task of
the
loading everyone.
administration.
Or one of the girls in the office.
No, it's not as if she doesn't.
I think that's down the line.
The girls in the office.
What the committee needs to decide is, do we want to do that? And do we want to have her set it up so we can begin experimenting with it?
Okay. Under the settings and then community in the YouTube account, you can add a moderator. You can actually block words. You can block users. So it has a lot of capabilities, a lot of power built into it. And again, it's all for free. But when we start recording videos, I think we need to have some minimum level of quality required. All of our cell phones can record videos, but
Yeah,
the framing is not ever quite right. The focus is probably not quite right. And you're not holding it still. So I gave Greg a list of equipment that would be desirable to have, including camera, lights, microphone, tripods, things like that. Then the next problem you're gonna run into is who's gonna do it.
But is the equipment similar to what they're using over in the church? Your Methodist church?
Similar, but I don't think you need to go to that expense for this.
Okay,
There's some real expensive cameras over there. There's some real equipment, real expensive equipment that does the live streaming. And then we're not talking about live streaming here, we're talking about just loading a video up into YouTube,
so.
which can be done from a laptop.
Okay, so I guess I'm getting at, you have the experience in the background. Having worked with them, to use that to give us the. And that's what.
You're leaping to conclusions. I didn't set up any of that equipment. I know how to operate some of it.
You know, operate, okay.
yeah, Dale.
No, unfortunately, I didn't bring my laptop tonight because I didn't want to get it wet.
But on the reserve study, I believe that there's cameras and on AV systems in the superstition that are near the end of their useful life.
That's correct.
Should be. So I'm thinking, go to the box, baby, spitballing. We buy good quality. Replace and use what we have today over there for our adventure here in regard to what we want.
Mhm.
As I say, I don't have the reserve in front of me.
The only thing that might be usable would be the camera itself.
Yeah, the camera.
But that's it's an exclusively remote control camera.
No,
I
replace, yeah, replace that one with the new ones.
Right.
They're end of life.
A new remote control.
Yeah, and then take that one and use it for.
That's my point. I believe the one that's in use over there is exclusively remote control.
Oh, we can make it manual.
You're volunteering? Take it on.
I
I
got,
don't know about
I got tools.
it.
Well, what's wrong with using the remote control camera?
You need the controller.
Yeah,
You need the controller.
Yeah.
which is,
That's a bigger deal.
Yeah.
But just taking the camera and using it as a standalone, that might serve as a temporary,
Possible, but cameras aren't all that expensive.
Mhm.
Where did I list the camera?
probably a couple of thousand.
Minimum 120 up to 500.
That's not bad.
Yeah, they're not crazy expensive. But anyway, I've given Greg all of this write-up stuff and information.
Yeah.
And that's a start.
But we might be able to incorporate.
well, does the board want to have taped candidate speeches available to the community? They did last year. That's what, it was on the website.
That's not kind of up to the board, that's up to the election oversight committee, the election committee. But it will be Zoom, from what I understand, so you already have a recording, you have a Zoom recording of it. It's a question of where to put it on the website. More than it is, shall we video it or not? It will be recorded because there will be a Zoom. Now will be recorded with large cameras and large screen. That I don't know. I don't know if that's automatically recorded somewhere. But I know there will be a Zoom of it and that will be recorded, which I would think for the average homeowner would probably be what they need and what they're after. So it'd be a matter of taking the Zoom and the candidate form and getting it on the website.
How was it done last year?
I don't know.
The, it was. I don't remember. Last year was. Was there a form last year? I don't think there was because we only had 3 board members and 3 candidates, and I'm not sure we did it. The year before, there was no live recording of it. That I'm aware of.
I don't recall one last year.
I don't think we did one last year. Because there was no contention. There was only 3 slots and 3 people, and I don't think that piece of it went through. I could be dead wrong.
As far as the website end of it, I just created this page while you guys were talking. I got the URL from a video I looked at this morning on YouTube. And there it is.
Right there.
Plays.
Which I think goes to a bigger problem. I noticed that in one of the upgrades they always start that you can now embed a video in a page. I don't know if they do that or
I'm
what.
not aware of that. I don't.
Yeah, that was one of the things of their upgrades that said video embed.
Then there may be another way to do it, but this certainly works and it's dead easy.
Right. So I think that
Okay,
if
Well,
he's already made a page, we just need to zoom video off of that computer right there that you're now recording it on. Given to them, and that raises that whole issue of all those meetings right now are being recorded on that computer in the office. How do we get those out of there and onto the website so that they're available to all the homeowners?
right.
Well,
What
Cheryl,
you
Cheryl, Cheryl, do you recall any on their change log that said that you can now put videos on the website? I'm not aware of that. It doesn't sound correct.
But you can put the link on.
The link, that's what I just
That's
showed
what you
you.
just did. So you could have the entire directory of all of the YouTube videos that are stored.
Yeah, there would be a text entry for each file. And when you click on that text entry, for example, technology committee meeting, blah, blah, blah. It plays it, it opens on your device, it opens YouTube. And plays it in YouTube,
That would be
which is what I just showed you.
Right,
oh, perfect.
so then does
Really
the
easy.
check committee recommend board that we set up a YouTube account?
I have one that you can play with if you want.
You play first and then set it up, but
You're not gonna be always running.
No, but I mean, as an experiment, and then if you want to go ahead and have Mindy do it.
Why don't, cause it seems so simple. Why don't we ask them to do it and then we've got it.
Okay, that's fine too.
When we, so it won't slow us down. And you don't have a couple of links floating around.
Ask Mindy.
Yeah.
And when will that get done?
well, if that's a motion of this committee to set up a YouTube account.
On behalf of
That goes to the board assigns it.
okay. Then let's have someone do the motion. Okay. You want to exactly what, so I can write it down.
You got better wording than
Okay.
how that we approach the board and request a YouTube account.
Be set up on behalf of the association.
Be set up on behalf of the association. Yes.
Well, while you're at it, go ahead and request some funding to buy the little bit of equipment that would be needed.
Well, and
Yeah.
associated equipment, you could just add that in.
Mindy has up to $5,000 at her discretion to spend, if I recall.
Yeah,
Be a lot of this than
yeah,
that.
that's for everything.
It's
This,
the solution you're talking about with YouTube. I do not believe that account, such an account would be limited of access. In other words, anybody who found it could watch it. If that's a problem, then we need a different solution. There are private
No,
accounts, you can set up
yeah,
private accounts on YouTube, but then everybody has to establish a membership in that private account in order to see it.
Right.
Which is not what we want.
No,
So we have to consider if there are the videos of things that we don't want the general public in Zamboanga and the Philippines to have access to.
well, maybe the Philippines.
Because the monkeys have no tails in Zamboanga.
Can they comment on it then?
That's a very interesting question, I have no idea. Probably.
I think you're right, Rick, anyone could access.
Yeah, unless you establish it, I've been down that road. Unless you
But being
establish a
able to
private
find
account.
out is gonna be the problem.
Yeah.
There's zillions of YouTube accounts.
Exactly.
So be able to, if somebody purposely wanted to find our YouTube account, would be very difficult for them
Yes.
without going through
Right,
the webpage.
right.
You know, could somebody stumble across it?
yeah,
And is that worth the risk? I don't know.
if the number
Okay.
one priority is simply to get the committee meetings that are being zoomed out and available. And so put on YouTube. That goal.
I think I'm wrong. It just occurred to me that I think all you need is the link. If somebody has a private account, sends you a link, you can see it. I think I'm wrong about them needing to sign in. So let's just put that on hold. I think I'm probably wrong. We can have a private account and the existence of the link would let you open it. Like I just showed you.
I think,
Although what I opened was from a public account. But so somebody needs to find out if that's true or not. I guess I'll volunteer to do that.
okay, Rick will research.
This is maybe from left field. But could we do the same with Facebook?
Sorry, because, yeah, well,
I mean, because you see videos always in that,
yeah, you put videos up there.
on Facebook, so.
Yeah.
And is there any more security
Well, Facebook groups.
groups? Are you
Groups are American. Yeah, if you own a group on Facebook, you can set it up so only members can participate and you can pick and choose the members. Yes. That's how Village Neighbors work.
And have to be invited. So should we
Well,
look
you know,
about,
That
should
could
we
be,
look comparing the two?
Some you can apply for it, but you're.
Excuse me for cutting in here. Since you're talking about social media, we're presenting that to the board at the workshop tomorrow. Recommending a business Facebook page for Mountain Brook Village. So we're waiting on the, once we present it, then we have to wait until next week to see if they approve it or not. FYI.
Thank you. I would table my motion right now
Until,
until we have, feedback from Rick
okay,
and as to the viability.
Well, the only issue there is do we need a private group? And if we have a private group, exactly how does it work? And I may be able to answer that question
Rick, can,
before we end this meeting.
I will help you research it, since I do have a private YouTube channel. We can use that as an experiment.
Just send me the URL for that
Yeah,
right now by email, and I'll click on it and we can answer the question.
okay, I don't know it
Yeah,
right
okay,
now,
all right.
off the top of my head. Cause it's a long link.
I have accessed private channels before, to the best of my recollection. All I did was click on the URL the person sent me.
Good.
Yeah, here, it says private videos don't appear on a channel homepage. The person will need to use the specific link to the private video. YouTube will send them an email with a link once you've invited them, but you can also send it yourself. In other words, if I put the link on the webpage, it plays, even if it's a private video. Okay, I guess we answered that question. Glad I volunteered.
As long as it's not Pamela Anderson.
What's wrong with that, man?
Oh, the monkeys have no tails, it's annoying.
Anyway, that's enough of that. You have any more? I'm sorry, George.
No, that's all I had. We just go refer to the 4 sheets I gave you.
And number 5 is mine as well, and again, I'm still exploring that with Mindy, who and not delayed because I was ill. And she is trying to set up something with her counterpart in corporate. But again, that goes on the back burner, and so it should be lower priority than some of the other stuff. And what I'm gonna propose is that we set up an actual database, either through Google, or Microsoft, or one of those corporations, similar to the Google Drive, where we can actually store up-to-date data, real-time data. And that's about as much as need to be said, I guess.
Quick question, Greg.
Yeah.
Is this committee involved with getting the Google Drive organized? Or
Well,
not?
that's part of the, yeah, data storage. That's part of data storage, yes.
But can't that happen now?
It can, but actually, Lila, who was supposed to attend the meeting, and because of the confusion, she's not here on the Zoom. She's the one who's been doing that. She is actually on the finance committee, but she's been working with us as well. But she's been
Is there
doing that.
progress being made or?
There was, but that was last spring. I haven't heard anything since then from her.
In that last spring meeting, the last one I attended it, the idea was to wait for this committee to set up the new website, to see what the documents was going to be like, to see what the practicality of transferring stuff over would be. We've now done that. The documents folder is there. It's set up. What's needed, in my opinion, at this point, is that we need to go through that documents folder, kind of redefine the folders or clean up the setting up of the folders and what goes in each one. And that is kind of Lila's expertise
Right.
at that point. So I would say now that we have set up the website, now documents is there, now we've used it for 2 or 3 months, that we are now ready to begin really transferring a lot more of the Google documents over, which are all available to homeowner walking and making a request anyway. So there's very, very few that couldn't be put over. The question is, why bring them over if you haven't set up the file folder and the file cabinet on where to put them? So the next step is setting up the file folder and the file cabinet. The reason Lila was willing to do that is the finance committee was just starting and they hadn't set up theirs within the actual Google Drive.
Right.
So she was willing to joint task that. And so she's waiting on you to say, we're ready to go. And
I will take that on and contact her and do that.
okay.
Okay, and the general discussion. We did talk about the website oversight process. Next is your survey. It's on the agenda. Oh, sorry. Ian.
And it's just, there's a potential conflict, there's two surveys gonna be going out around the same time.
Yeah, but that's what we're talking about.
Okay, so let's talk about it.
Um. I guess of course, all along, the survey was going to be to help us fill in the blanks of what we missed. What people would like to see, and also what they think of the survey so far.
The website, you mean, what they think of the website?
Of the website, thank you. The idea behind would be. As we're getting going now with the oversight committee, and I think that's information that the oversight committee needs to have in hand to work with any of the requests. Also, as I mentioned, what did we miss? And the idea was that we would do it sometime this spring. When we've got the main part, we're there. We created the oversight committee. And that's the time where we need this data. It was authorized in our setting up, I think, that the website that we would use a survey. So I don't know, I guess Dale, yours survey is ready, somewhat ready to go.
Yeah, it's at the board level.
You're getting the approval.
Within the approval of the board, and the feedback that I've received thus far is that it's a goal. Everybody likes it. It's easy to work through. And so that as soon as on their workshop, but actually Jim Elsey indicated that he may call a special meeting so we can get it faster, because otherwise we go to the workshop tomorrow and we work it with another week and another week, and it just gets protracted.
Yeah.
So we just need to get the approval of the board and hit the button and go.
Well, there are some inputs that you get.
Yeah.
On there,
But it's the board approval right now that we're awaiting.
Surveys, people don't mind seeing surveys fairly close together if the surveys result in action. And of course, this is a long-term one that
This is a long-term vision.
it's thus labeled long-term. And
Well, when were you proposing to put it out?
March.
That's enough separation time.
I would think so.
That should be okay in March.
And some of the questions that we have in the planning survey identify some of the things that we've been talking about today, like streaming and streaming if you're at home, these kind of things. So we're gonna get a flavor for what people are truly interested in, if they're, or are we just spinning our wheels?
Sure.
I would think that if you're talking, yours is. If you get what you want, it'll be out in February.
And if I get what I want, I will be out in January.
Well, okay. January, let's say it's January, okay, we're halfway there now,
Mhm.
so. If that, and then if Keith doesn't go out until March, I think the separation is okay.
And we will be able to maybe even get some better questions on the technology survey based on some of the ones that are gonna
That's a good
respond
idea.
to on ours, because we have sections and questions that relate directly to technology with embedded in the questionnaire or the survey.
That's a thought, yeah.
Well, one of the things is, I think the planning is what, 12 minutes?
12 minutes.
12 minutes, and the technology is 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So on that, we can emphasize in the beginning of the technology.
So
It's short.
It'll
It's
go,
only gonna be open for a week.
we're gonna send it to the board in the February board then,
Again,
again?
I sent it to, I said
Yeah.
I can't,
Oh, you can.
Quick comment.
So if it was approved at the February board meeting, it could go out in March, no problem, right, Keith?
Quick question. It asks if you ever log in. I'm wondering if we could add a free form thing. If you're not using the website, what are your limits? Why? I mean, you know, what's limiting you from using it?
good question, I had that on there,
You know,
it was in our skip logic. And talking to some people, they thought maybe it wasn't. But I do have, that question. It's not in there.
I personally think it's good. 'Cause
It-
the amount of
It
people.
gives, I think it would skip to where it would say, you get the information, the Mountaineer, get it other. Or there's another, an open-ended, and that's all in the skip logic,
I would agree with that.
which you won't see. When I send you out a sample of it, unless you follow that route and say, I don't log in, then you would see that information. Okay. This consensus that we should dig into that specific part. So, why aren't you on it? Why haven't you used it, something like that?
It's a basic, simple, local question.
And it would go to all, people that are utilizing, the website today or getting e-blasts and that, so we would connect to those that are, we've got a route, we're not limiting it to one person per household.
No, it's,
And they're doing the same,
I'm doing the same.
Yeah.
It's to every resident.
because your wife's probably interested in card games and you're interested in
Not
music
card
or
games.
something. Yeah, okay, but if you only had one of you, then you've missed the.
Well, exactly. Yeah.
Exactly, the other persons. It's not a money goal.
No, people use the pool, some, the husband does, the wife does. Simple.
Or vice versa.
Everybody's. Exactly. Yeah, each one needs to have their voice.
Okay.
No more questions?
Should communications help us out on that?
If you want them to.
Of course.
I mean, should we have something that prepares them for both?
Well,
Surveys coming out.
and actually, Petra and I are working on a few words of wisdom to get people prepped for the survey.
I mean, we did that always in the past surveys.
And it will come out in the open more tomorrow at the workshop. And I'll be there to respond to any questions.
But I was wondering if we announce that, I mean, if the write-up also mentions that there's another survey coming. And maybe the fact that we like other areas of the country are seeing that we need more input from the community in that, and this is.
Keith, can you just put together some bullet points you want covered?
For me?
Would you just put some bullet points that you want covered? And then the, probably the liaisons to the technology would do it, or if I have time, maybe I would do it. Anyway, yeah, just some bullet points and then we'll be able to put it together for you.
Okay. My favorite thing.
Okay. Is that it for the survey? Any other topics that aren't on the agenda?
I'd like to just bring up one. I think it's critically important that we keep in mind when we hold ourselves accountable for doing stuff and getting stuff done, that a year ago, the technology committee didn't even exist.
Yeah,
that there was no Zoom, there were no committee meeting, descriptions anywhere, the website was definitely not even there. So a lot of the frustration of why isn't it done yet, I think needs to be viewed through the filter of a year ago wasn't even on the list when you got up in the morning, and now it's major front and center. And my compliments to everybody who's worked so hard and so diligently to get it to happen. And as Greg knows and Keith knows, we've worked for the last 2 years to begin to get something going. And it's just important when you get frustrated to realize that yes, it's slow, yeah, it's not efficient, yeah, it's not going, but we have come a huge distance in a very short time. So.
and I,
One of the things that, at least when I was chairing planning advisory, we used to write a year-end accomplishment thing that we submitted to the communication
well,
team and that at that time, and the board.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I just about forgot about that, because I sent all the steering committee members a request for a report. And that's gonna go to the board in February. Because everyone saw that, George
Yeah.
gave me his. Yeah. Did you miss it? I'm
I
sorry.
got one that somebody,
Well, I was talking about a 10 right at this second. Just got an action item. I'll write it down.
So, yeah,
is that the thing for February 15th?
Yes. yeah, 13th, yeah. Then I'll put that together as a report to the board. For the board, February meeting. That'll be our annual report.
I'm not great at writing, but I can give you some.
I can-
point.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Greg, because I didn't realize we were supposed to do that.
We don't know if we're supposed to, I just thought we should.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It was something I started back then, it's, rest of the committee didn't want to go along with it.
I thought being a new committee that it might be important that they,
Yeah.
To highlight it, it brings it to every in the front.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people, their memories are that long.
yeah,
And we need to be expanded.
Also might be a good thing to
Yeah.
put in the annual meeting agenda that's coming up. Just a very quick short, for a lot of the people who don't tune in during the year, that do come to the annual meeting.
yeah,
That might be a good synopsis, or at least we've done all of this, go to the website on this page to see what the details are.
And Rick is in the back to get you going.
Back to me.
Back of the meeting,
Yeah. To your table.
my favorites, yeah, that continues the office hours in the library twice a week. I've discontinued
oh, you have,
the response was getting near nil.
Yeah.
But I'm still with the coffee.
coffee news.
My total one-on-one assistance to logins is probably around 200. About 15 or 16 house calls.
And I
We're
was
still getting people coming to you at the coffee and.
Yes.
Good.
and when he see back there and you're looking, I've probably done 20, 25. Because they're easy,
Mhm.
some of them.
Okay.
You just put it on your homepage.
Okay, anything else? Oh, I know, I have, the next meeting is February 6th. But, should we make it the 13th instead? That's only 2 weeks from now.
Well, if it's the 6th, everybody has to bring their birthday card, so let's make it the 13th.
February. I'll
There's
see
a
if
lot of meetings on the 13th.
our meeting's on the 13th?
Is it Monday, the 13th?
Yes,
Yes, there is.
Yeah, because the first one is activities and then I follow with communication and then the planning is next.
It's already there.
keep it to 6th.
We'll do it the 6th.
I will be in the back bowls on the 14th.
Okay, let's keep it to 6th, then that's fine. Anything else? Then motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Ian, it's always Ian who does that, and Keith who seconds.
It's quick.
Adjourned.
You know,
Is it men's lunch today? No?
You missed it last week.
Last week.
All right.
We had reservations for 20, we ended up with 2.
Two? Wow,
I'm gonna end your Zoom recording.
I am, just a minute here.
Start charging for it, because they pay me.